Alphabet giants, welcome again. It's another video, and in this video, this is what I'm gonna do. Moving from Nairobi to Lusaka was not easy, and I actually thought it is the same vibe. I thought it would be the same feel, because being brought up in just one location, your mentality and your mindset is completely organized for that place. So when you move to a different location, you have to adjust apparently. I'm still learning. You have to learn a lot of things, from finances to language to weather to livelihood to, the people, the culture, the food, and all these things. I want to itemize them into about 15 items that you should know before you come to Lusaka. This is gonna be entertaining. It's gonna be a bit long, but I hope you will enjoy. At the backdrop of it, I'll be preparing my food, and then at the end of it, I will invite you for a meal. So let's take our 15. Come with me. So before we dive right into the 15 items I want to mention, I will be preparing some food. I want to prepare some rice. So I bought this green, what are they called? Bell pepper. Bell pepper. Some mixed vegetables which have some green peas, some corn, some French peas. Yeah. Also some rice. I actually figured I haven't eaten rice for a while, so I wanted to prepare rice. And then some green peas just to add. I want some more green in my relish. So I want to add this to the mixed vegetables so that there is more of the green peas. As I do the dishes, we'll start with the 15 things which you should know about Zambia. So let's start with the first one, the most basic, and this is your travel status. So with your travel status, this means if you're traveling on a visa or not. Some countries are visa exempt. For me, coming from Nairobi, I am visa exempt. But some countries you have to get a visa. For those that need to get a visa, my recommendation of what I have seen is that it is advisable if you could make your application before you make your travel. It makes it easier, and because it may take some time. I'm not very sure if you can get on arrival. I think it is still possible, but I have seen most of my colleagues, when they travel, they have to make the application before they land. And I think it eases off everything. For those who travel without a visa, you just need your passport, and you come and you land yourself at the airport. Now, at the airport, which is the point of entry, or also, I believe, at the border, you have to declare the time, your reason for visiting, and the duration. And apparently they are very strict with it, because, for example, for just a visiting person, you get about 90 days. I'm not sure how it goes, but I think averagely you get 90 days, but you have to be subconsciously conscious to say it. Most of the people, when you get to the airport, you're not very sure what to say when they ask you that. So if you're traveling and you're coming, probably your visa will also dictate for how long you're gonna be here, but they will still ask you. If you're coming for work, the migration allows you 1 month of working without necessarily taking a visa. But exactly at the end of the first month, you must get a work permit. You must have a work permit, or else I think it is going to be something else. So it is advisable, if you come and you're sure you're coming for business at the airport, you have to, when you say you're coming for work or for business, you have to make sure that if you're sure you're going to spend less than 30 days, they will tell you that you only have 30 days. And if you travel, go and come back again, if you consumed 2 weeks in your first visit within the calendar year, it means they will already deduct. They are very observant and they're very strict at looking at the duration somebody spends in Zambia. So they will tell you, now you only have 17 days remaining, you only have 5 days remaining. And they make sure that your visit, if it is business grounded, then you only have a maximum of 30 days until you can take up a work permit. Now, a temporary work permit is not difficult to get. It just needs your passport and your employer and a few of those details. But if it is a more permanent visa, which is a 2-year visa, then you have to exit. That one you make application when you're not in country, and when you make that application, you have to be out of the country. They will ask you for a lot of your documents, your qualifications. Remember, most countries try and protect their employment and their workforce, so they don't want you to just be coming into the country to do basic work that can be able to be sourced within the graduates or within the citizens of the country. So most of the time, because they're trying to restrict that, the work permit application, remember, more or less you have to be bringing a skill that you have to train somebody here, so that when you leave the skill with the local person already trained. So the positions that you apply for, when it is for a work permit, especially for a longer duration, then it has to more or less be managerial or be, a very skilled profession. So when you're picking your application, you have to know, you have to identify you have to identify a position that defines that you're bringing in a skill. You're not just coming to do what anybody else will be doing. So it's good to be keen with that. Otherwise, your application will not go through. So when you're visiting or when you're coming to work here, you have to be aware of those things, your visa status, and then your stay status, how long you're going to be here. But once you're through with the immigration and you're let in, you will be very clear to know how long you're allowed to be in. Remember, that one also creates restrictions even when you get your SIM card, because I noticed even the SIM card, when you're making the application, they will restrict the SIM card operation within the duration that has been indicated on your passport. It happened to me, and I've seen to a few others. So if you're here for 2 weeks, trust me, after 2 weeks your SIM card will not be working. So you have to be conscious about that, so that by the time you're passing through the immigration, all your records are straight, and you're conscious of the details you've given, because they might apply in other things that you're doing. So that's it for the travel status. The second one I would mention, the next one I would mention would be, once you get into the country, now you've gone through past the immigration, you're out at the airport, you're concerned of 2 things. 1, communication, and 2, your transport. So it is also good to be conscious about those 2. So 1, Your communication means at the airport you need to find there's an Airtel shop. Now here they have three main mobile operators, though there's another fourth one. So the main one is Airtel, then there is MTN, and then there is another one called Zamtel, and another one called Z Mobile. Now, the first two, Airtel and MTN, are the most popular, are the most used. Zamtel is also picking up. But for me, if you ask me, Lusaka, mainly if you're coming to Lusaka, most people are normally using Airtel. So Airtel money is used quite a lot, and the Airtel SIM card is also, almost everybody has an Airtel SIM card. So it makes sense for you to get an Airtel SIM card right at the airport. There is a shop to get a SIM card, and once you have the SIM card, then you would be able to buy your bundles, and you would also be able to use mobile money, meaning you can get some local money and deposit and be able to use. For first timers, I think the SIM card takes 3 days to activate your mobile money, so it might not be immediate for mobile money, but you should be able to at least do your communication. So it is good to be aware that your first thing when you get to the airport, which is ideal, is to get a SIM card. If not, yes, you can get a SIM card inside within the city now, but it doesn't hurt. It will not make a difference. You can get it from the airport. Actually, for me, when I travel and I land at the airport, my first thing is not to rush away from the airport. My first thing is to familiarize myself with what I can do to keep myself comfortable, because once you get out immediately, there are those taxi people calling out. There is a lot of rush because they feel like this is the rush hour to capture somebody to make some money. So for me, I take my time. I will always connect to the airport Wi-Fi and try and communicate with my family, tell them I have arrived safely, and then I try and update myself. At the airport also in Lusaka, there is a open airport Wi-Fi, so you would be able to connect to it and also be able to communicate to your person who's picking you if you're being picked up, to your family to inform them you've arrived, and make any other communication. So that will be ideal. So your SIM card, Airtel is preferred. MTN also is good. It is not bad. For me, MTN has cheaper data. There is a Z Mobile, which I've never used, so I wouldn't say anything about it, but they have 5G. But for me, Airtel and MTN for starters will be nice, and they are easily accessible. They have booths everywhere, even within the city. The next one for me would be transport. Transport, there are two main forms of transport, apart from obviously the natural ones of walking. There are two main forms of transport. One, there is a taxi app, what is it called? A cab hailing app called Yango. So Yango is what is mainly used and widely used and most popular. There is also InDrive, which is still picking up, but since I've been here for the longest, Yango is the most popular. It is the most used. It is what is easily available. So I think one of the main things to always have on your phone is the Yango app. Yango is Yango. There's also InDrive, so you can have both. So transport is one of the key things to help you to move around. Secondly, there are buses. There are buses across the city, which can take you anywhere. You can connect. So buses are a bit cheaper if you're a person who likes to sometimes explore using the buses. They're not the most comfortable. They are not the most easy to use. but they're nice. I use buses very frequently. They're my main form of transportation. So it's only that you have to adapt to the language. You have to know your location where you're going. You have to know some wordings or some words that are used or some language that is used, so that you can understand when you're being asked where you're going, such questions. But the main forms of transport is a cab hailing app called Yango, also InDrive, and then using the buses. So if you're new and you've landed at the airport, a Yango will be easy for you. For me, I would not shy away from asking somebody, an airport attendant or somebody at the airport, to help me get a taxi. The airport and the city is not very close, so if you're not very much aware, because when you're using the app, it will charge you about 200 local money, 230, which is about is it $10? It's about $10. But it depends with the timings. I'm sure based on the time on the time this I'm doing this in September 2025. It might change a couple of years later, but if you make the request for a cab and you're not aware of the distance that you're supposed to cover, then the negotiation will make you pay more than double or triple the amount. So for me, the easy thing to do is to ask somebody. If you don't have the app, ask somebody at the airport to help you call a Yango, and that would help you as long as you know your destination. So yes, transport, Yango, or buses. At the airport, I'm not sure if the buses get into the airport. I've not used buses to the airport, but if you're new, it's obviously the cab. But when you get into the city and you want to move around, buses are easier. Unfortunately, the buses, the city winds down early. By around 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. the city shuts down, so there are no buses at that time, so only the cabs operate. And then in the mornings from about 5, the buses start to operate. So it just depends your preference. But for me, since the town winds up early, so you either have to always make your movements early, or if you're gonna get a bit late after 8:30, 9, 10 p.m. there, you have to use a Yango. You will most likely not have a lot of options for it. Next thing is accommodation. And what I would say about accommodation is that you can get a lodge or a hotel. There are so many hotels and lodges. Airbnb, people are not very familiar with Airbnb app, but there are some places you can get furnished apartments. So they will just call them furnished apartments. But the Airbnb concept is not taken as is. So you will ask somebody about Airbnb and they will not be familiar with what you're talking about. So most of the time it is either a lodge. So a lodge will be a hotel or a bed and breakfast kind of a thing. And if you're planning to move, like you want to get a place to live, an empty house, so you're moving sort of permanently. Permanent does not mean forever, but it means you want to settle for a while, for 6 months, and you don't want to lodge, because for a lodge, an average good one, it will cost you about it will be costing you about $20, $25, $30, $50. It just depends where your budget allows you. But again, for furnished apartments, furnished apartment will be about almost $100. Is it 100? not 100. Wait a minute. A furnished apartment, or what people would call an Airbnb, would cost you about between $300 to even $1,000 per month. So it just depends with what you get. Most of this you have to look online. You have to find an agent to get you a home. So if you're moving, for me, my best recommendation would be, if you're moving to Lusaka, you first move into a lodge, but budget yourself to spend about a week or two. If you're just actively just looking for a place to live, spend a week or two in the lodge looking for a place to move to, whether it is a furnished apartment or it is an empty house where you need to move. Otherwise, it is not easy for you to just land and find yourself a place to live unless it is a hotel or a lodge. So it's good to be aware, because the way to find a place to live is to look for an agent, and these agents, you find them online, either on Facebook or on or some websites, and it will not be point on. They'll not have sometimes ready houses that are waiting, and when you get a ready house that is waiting, you have to pay for an equivalent of about 3 or 4 months equivalent of rent. You have to pay the rent, you have to pay the deposit, and you have to prepay the house for about a month or two, depending with the agreement. So you have to be aware of that. People don't live in storage building. They live in bungalows, and they live in enclosed own compound houses. So identifying vacancies in houses is kept by some agents or people who would know, and then put it online. So sometimes you'll want to live in a certain area, but it will be difficult because you will only be seeing 1 or 2 floated houses within that area. So it gives you some limitations. So for me, if you're looking for a place to move into, like a furnished apartment or a vacant house, you have to give yourself time and have the money in your pocket, because once you get the place, you have to pay immediately, because there are not so many vacant houses. If you waste time, somebody else will do the booking, and you will have lost your opportunity to get that house. So it is good to know about that, and to be aware. Another thing you need to be ready for is load shedding, and load shedding is where there is a apportionment of power to different locations at different times. So most of the places you get power for about 5 hours or 4 hours at most, and it is rotating within the day. So in 1 week, you'll probably have 4 hours of power at night. In the following week, you'll have 4 hours of power maybe in the mornings. The next week, you'll have 4 hours of power maybe in the afternoons. So it is a rotating schedule. So it means most of your time you will not have power within your home. So you can make sure you have something like a power bank, or arrange to have alternative sources of power. If not, then you will not most likely be spending a lot of time in your house. So most of the time you'll be spending it out, where you can also be able to access power if you've come for work, or you're going to the malls, or you're going to lounge somewhere. You can always charge from there. But it's good to be aware that as the country is trying to resolve the power issue, you have to be ready to expect minimum, or sometimes you will not even be able to see power 2 days, 3 days in a row, based on your timings, or what you do within a day. So it's good to be conscious about it. Most places they are generators. Some people have put inverters. Some lodges you'll find probably it is even a bit expensive, because they have gone further to invest into additional power backup. So you should also be conscious or aware about that. Now, about safety, which is my next on the list. Zambia is quite safe. I think safety depends with where you've grown up and your surrounding, where you're coming from. I think for me, I would say Zambia is more safe. I feel very safe. Very few locations. There are 2 or 3 locations people will tell you or mention to you that it might not be safe. And most of those areas, they will say there are junkies. So in the local lingo, junkies are locations. Junkies are people who are ready to mug you. They are ready to steal from you. And those locations would be 2 or 3. So there are just a few locations people have told me, oh, don't find yourself there alone or don't go there because there are a lot of junkies. So when they say junkies, they just mean people who will necessarily mug you or steal from you. But my experience so far, I think generally on safety, I think the country is more safe. One of the reasons it winds up early is because the government has created the perception that late night it is also not safe. So you only find places that are alive, places where close to the clubs where people hang out. Those places are every day they'll be open and there will be events and people there. But in normal residential areas and other public spaces, people wind down very early and get indoors very early. You not find people outside. There's also an unspoken rule that after 10 p.m. it is likely if you meet with the police at night at about that time or later, just loitering around, it is easy for you to be arrested and for loitering and for probably being an unsafe to the society. So safety for me, Lusaka is quite good. You can walk around, you can walk around freely. Probably you might be, depends, some people get irritated. Maybe you'll come across people that are asking you for something to help them out with their problems, which is okay. So occasionally you will come across that, but generally, apart from probably if you feel irritated by that, but generally they will also not disturb you. So to me, safety is key. Is good. Next thing, which is not very important, but I'm gonna mention it, is that in Zambia, people talk in 24 hours. So you will be told time in 24 hours. Like they will say 01, that is 1 a.m. 04, that is 4 a.m. 13 hours, that is 1 p.m. 16 hours, that is 4 p.m. So normally they will speak in 24 hours. So it is, I think, more for you as a visitor or as an external person coming in to adapt to the way they refer to time. So most of the time they'll be talking in 24 hours. I've started adapting to it because you have to integrate with the society. Yeah. So yeah, they speak in 24 hours. Good thing. The next thing I will mention is the weather. Zambia to me is relatively a hot country. If you're traveling, these are the 3 different seasons I have seen, or I've been here for about a year, though there's a time I traveled back so that I could get my papers right, but generally I've been here a year. So the rainy season starts somewhere at the end of the year, so around December or November. December, the rainy season starts and it rains. It actually rains and most places do flood. So it rains for about 3 or 4 months, between say the end of the year, roughly December to about March. It's quite rainy there, and the rains are quite heavy. I think one of the things I'm always joking is that the lightning I have seen here is those lightnings you see in the movies or in the cartoons. It is a complete big zigzag on the sky. So yeah, so here it rains between end of the year to about March. Then after March, between March and August, it is very, very cold. The temperatures go very low. Temperatures can go to about 5 degrees, and then it is very windy. So it is cold, it is windy, but most of the time the sky will be blue. That is the only thing I've always appreciated. The sky is mostly blue and the sun is always out. But you see, when it is crispy cold, even if the sun is out, you'll be freezing your bones off. So then after August, they now move into summer. And in summer, the temperatures can go as high as, I've seen sometime it has gone to 35 degrees Celsius. So it gets hot again between August, end of August, September. I think up to now the end of the year, when again the rains come back. So, and it is again very windy and dusty. I think one of the things I've always told myself is, I think Zambia is a good country to spend most of your time in your sunglasses. The other day I was just thinking, this country, sunglasses will do 95% of the time, because it is normally very windy. So yeah, so those are the three different seasons I have noticed. The locals might define it further, but for me that is what I have experienced. Rain season, end of the year to sometime March, then it becomes a bit hot, and then it becomes very cold, crispy cold, until August. About end of August, the summer comes in. It has to get very hot. By October, it's gonna be extremely hot, and then by the end of the year, the rains come back. So it is good to note the weather when you're traveling. And for me, I'm always referring to the weather app when I need to step out, just to understand how the day will be, so that I'm better prepared psychologically. The next one is the money. So in Zambia, they use the Zambian kwacha. It's called a kwacha. So if you're traveling or if you're staying, first of all, maybe I should first explain how for me I travel. For me, I don't convert money at the airport. Most of the countries I go to, I try to get in and then find out the best way, because you're always trying to get a better exchange rate, but again also trying to avoid losing money. So some of the countries I've traveled to, they've had black market, so I'm able to have money changed on the street, which gives me a bit of an advantage. But in Zambia, you only change money at the forex foreign exchange shops, or whatever they call it. So they will mostly be in the malls. At the airport, you'll also find some. If you ask me, if you're carrying, mostly travel with your dollars and then come and change, because the dollar is always fluctuating. The exchange rate between the dollar and the kwacha is always fluctuating. So for me, if you have a dollar, you come in, you change your first 100 or 200, then just keep observing the changes, and when you can change, and sometimes you will get some good value. If you are using your ATM card, for me, what I have come to experience is, with my ATM card, because it is in the currency of my country, or I also have a dollar account. When I'm purchasing things in the supermarket, or when I'm purchasing things, or when I'm paying for at the restaurant, using the card is very easy, and the charges are not as high. But one thing I came to learn the hard way was withdrawing money from the ATM. Now, if you're withdrawing a large amount of money, say like a 300 or a $400 from the ATM, then the exchange rate and the deductions and the cross-border charges and anything else that you're charged in your card, you might not notice it because you're making a lump sum withdrawal. And the ATMs do the MasterCard, and they do, although it just depends. Some banks, the ATM machines will not take the MasterCard, but I think the Visas are taken by all. But now, if you're living on a daily basis, and in your like for me, if I'm in Kenya, sometimes I'll just go to the ATM to withdraw enough money for that week. I'll go and withdraw a small amount to make me manage for a few days. That small withdrawal, if you're withdrawing here, and remember, maybe your money, if you have opened a local account, it is a different thing. Well, you're now a local completely, yeah. But if you're using your currency, your ATM is in your currency from wherever you're coming from, and the exchange rate, they are different with countries. For me, it messed me up a very, very, very big way. I would go to withdraw some small amount to manage myself for the week or for a few days, and I realized, I'll give an example. I would see like 5,000 Kenya shillings in the account. The Kenyan money, I always do times 5 or divide by 5 to convert to the kwacha. So I would see 5,000 Kenya shillings in the account. Divide by 5, that means that is 1,000 kwacha. So in my mind, I would think, even if I withdraw and I am charged a bit of something, maybe I can get on my hands, I can eventually get an 800. So let's assume a 200 will be consumed in the charges and the transfers. I would struggle. I would start by putting 900, says insufficient funds, 800 insufficient, 700 insufficient, 650 I would literally, it would just literally swallow almost half of the money that I have. So over time, I realized it was giving me a big problem, because when I need to withdraw small amounts of money, or when, sometimes you're running broke, so you only have enough to manage. Eventually, I learned that if I have my Kenyan money, it is easier to send to somebody in Kenya for them to withdraw, send me on Western Union, and they did all those charges that I'll have incurred in that circle will not even compare to even a fraction of what I would have been charged if I withdraw over the ATM. So most of the time, if I need to withdraw directly from the ATM, from my account, which is having my Kenyan money, I would rather send to somebody in Kenya to send me on Western Union, and then I receive from Western Union. It will be so cheap. It will be very cheap. Like with my 5,000, if I have that 5,000 and I send somebody in Kenya and it reaches me, it will still be 900 and something. It will be like 930 if I'm not wrong, or something like that. Meaning I'll only have been charged 70 kwacha. I would only have, in all that exchange, I will receive a 930. With my estimate of 1,000, it means only 70. So it's good to understand how your money moves around. Otherwise, you lose money and you'll not know. But if you're paying for food, you're paying for something in the supermarket, then it's you'll not notice it. It will be negligible. It will not be that much. So it's also good to know that, because it is something I learned about money. Having talked about money, I will mention the cost of living. I find Zambia to be a bit expensive. I think if you'll always compare with where you're coming from. I always tell people that the equivalent of a certain amount of money here, if I use the same equivalent amount of money, say in Kenya, I would use it 3 days more than I would use it here. So, for example, if I have 100 kwacha and I convert it to Kenyan money, which I will say is a 500 Kenya shillings, what I would do with 100 kwacha and what I will do with 500 Kenya shillings, the 100 kwacha gets finished so fast. So for me, the cost of living is a bit high. So if you're coming here, you will find things to seemingly be a bit expensive. I don't know why life seems a bit expensive, and I don't know, I wouldn't compare life here and in Kenya. Kenya life is very fast, but I think there are some structures which have already been put, the way people live, because people live in families. So somehow people are able to pull together and people are able to afford. So the structures are able to put things in a bit of an expensive kind of formation. But I don't have an exact explanation for it. I'm still trying to understand how things are a bit expensive. If you pay in the bus, the distance I would cover in the bus in Kenya and the distance I cover here, the charges are to me, they're extremely high, because obviously I'm comparing. So I find Lusaka to be expensive. So it's good to come knowing that things might be expensive. So if you're looking at the cost of living and then you have to do all those exchange and withdrawing money and lose some money in the process, it's good to do your mathematics the right way. Otherwise, you'll feel like you've lost some or a lot anyway. Entertainment is my next one. So Lusaka and generally Zambia. Zambia is a place that people love to enjoy. Clubs are open every day. You can go out each and every day from Monday to Friday and you'll find clubs are full. People have to go out. The kind of enjoyment that is there is just clubs, drinks, and food. But apart from that, I think generally on a normal day, places to hang out mostly are the malls. There's a lot of malls across the country. So you'll find a lot of malls and places to sit, places to eat. Though most of the food you will get is fast food. It's not, you don't easily get the normal home cooked food. Here, most of the places where you will hear of home cooked food, they call it matebeto. And matebeto is not found anywhere easily. And when you find the food, it will be expensive because it is sort of cultural kind of food. So it has some significance. So it's not everywhere. Where I have grown up, I can literally never cook. I can always be just stepping out of the door and there's a place to eat, and it will be cheap, affordable, and a variety. In Zambia generally, and I will say in Lusaka, where I've lived now for almost a year, finding places to eat, unless you're fond of eating fast foods on a daily basis, the chips and the chicken, such, you will not most of the time find places to eat just local, like home cooked food, like the normal food. The common food here is shima, or in Kenya we call it ugali, or some places they call it sima. That is what is a common food here, which you can eat with beef or chicken, with some vegetables. But such kind of food you'll not find restaurants around serving that kind of food. Most of the time it will be fast food. So you would need to adapt very fast to preparing your own food, or asking, if you're living in a lodge or in a hotel, you can ask them to prepare for you, your custom kind of food. But generally, out here, it is not easy to just walk out and go into a restaurant, a small restaurant, and sit and ask for the local food. Most of the time you'll have just to go to the malls, and there you'll just be finding the fast foods. So finding food here is not easy, and if you find the good Manteveto food, it will be expensive than eating the fast food. So and then it is not something you will eat every day anyway. In Kenya you will find variety. You will find beans, you will find beef, you will find green grams, you will find, you will find a variety. So there are days you don't feel like eating meat, you can eat whatever else you want to eat, and you will just be walking less than 100 meters and you get a different place to eat something. 30 meters, another place. But Lusaka is not, you don't easily land on such places to eat that freely. You have to scout, identify a place, be getting there on time. Like, it is a psychological thing you need to plan just to have a meal. So I would say be ready to cook. Be ready to cook or to make custom orders. Another thing is religion. So according to my understanding and what I've seen, is that Zambia is more of a Christian country. I think it is also defined in the constitution. Not sure, but don't quote me, but I think it is. It's a Christian country. So most people observe Christian practices. I have seen a lot of SDA, Seventh Day churches. There is also a lot of Jehovah Witness. Again, there's a bit of Pentecostal or these other kind of Christian practices, but I've seen like the bigger percent is more of a Jehovah Witness and Seventh Day Adventists. There might be others, maybe it is where I live and the circles where I am in, but that is what I have noticed. Yes, I've also seen Pentecostal or this other kind of breakaway Christian religious practices, but generally I have seen a lot of Christian practices here. There's a bit of Muslim. I have not seen. I think I only know of one mosque, one or two that I have seen with my own eyes. But to me, if you ask me, Muslim is not widely practiced, but it is there. There are some mosques, but most people practice Christianity, and that is the religion around. I know this is not very important, but I've got to mention that when you're loading your airtime, your talk time on your phone, or you bought a bundle, most of the time it will not be functional until you sort of do your flight mode or you restart your phone. I have restarted my phone more than all the phones I've ever bought all my life. Like here, I have restarted my phone so many times. Well, I know in Kenya, I never restarted my. I don't. There are some phones I never even restarted because I wouldn't even remember the SIM card pin or something like that. But here, the network sometimes is not very good. I'm sure it's being improved and worked on, but at the moment of this recording, in my last complete stay since I came here, whenever I get talk time or I buy bundles, I sort of have to just restart my phone or do flight mode on and off just to get the bundle working. Initially, I think my first days I would buy a bundle and not be able to use it until it expires because I was not aware. So if you're struggling with your network, just restart your phone, do flight mode on and off, everything should be working. So the next one would be where to do your shopping. I think for clothings, I think there are two ways to do it. One, like in Lusaka, in the town, there are some markets where they sell clothes. Those are just local markets. You can find clothes there, or you can also go to the malls. There's a lot of malls, so in most of those malls you'll get shops that sell clothes. There are some preferred shops that people prefer, but I think it all depends with your budget and the quantity you want to buy and the quality what you want to get. In town, you can also get from those markets. In the markets, it is where it is a bit congested. There is a lot of noise and all that, but it is also a place where you can bargain and you can get things at the price that you prefer. So it just depends where you want to do your shopping, if it is in the mall or in the market. For me, it is adventurous to go in the market and see what they have there and what they sell, and also try and bargain and get good value for your money. Apart from that, if you're buying general stuff, it's most preferred to get in the supermarket. One of the things I've noticed that the supermarkets are even quite cheaper than the local shops that are around your living area. So most of the time when I have an opportunity to buy something and I'm around a mall, because most of the supermarkets will be in the malls, I will more or less preferably go to the malls. Remember, in these supermarkets, there's also there's bakery and there's also a food area. So sometimes if you want to buy food to eat, which is not from the fast food, you want to eat rice, chicken, the normal food, most people easily buy. Remember, like I mentioned, there's not a lot of restaurants that sell that food. So in the supermarket, you will get it. So most people buy food from the supermarket. You can eat around. There's some who have put up eating locations, or you can take away and go have at home. They pack it very well. So that's one of the things I think I had forgotten to mention about food. But generally, if you want to buy anything, things that you need to use, soap, toothpaste, for me, I'll always prefer the supermarkets, and they will have genuine things. At this time, the biggest supermarkets is ShopRite. ShopRite is common in the Southern African countries. I think it comes from South Africa, although you'll also find it in West Africa. There's also Pick and Pay. There's a Game. There's Choppies. There are some supermarkets, but ShopRite is the most dominant across the country, because you'll find it anywhere. So for me, if you ask me, if you have an opportunity and you want to purchase something, supermarkets are your best bet. they will be in the malls, but you can also get some things from the local shops. Local shops stock up a lot of things. Apparently they stock up a lot of things, so it is also possible to get things from the local shops, but for me it is a bit cheaper in the supermarkets. Vegetables, anything you want to get, you can get in the supermarket, but you can equally get them outside, at the grocery shops, at the smaller markets, at the shops that are closer to the residential areas. Yes, so for shopping, you just need to know where you find comfort in purchasing stuff. Another thing is the language. So the main language that is spoken here, widely spoken by everyone, is Nyanja and Bemba. There is always a running joke that both the languages are not complete. So some words are missing in Nyanja, you can find them in Bemba. Some words, if you miss them in Bemba, you can find them in Nyanja. But generally, that is the language that is spoken here. Bemba and Nyanja, they interchangeably use the words depending with, the flow of the discussion. But at least everybody does talk English. English is also a national language. So relatively everybody speaks English. Even the one who might not be speaking, they will slightly be understanding you. So don't feel uncomfortable speaking your English. People will respond, people will hear, and at least it is the alternative that I think it is the main language that is taught in main foreign language that is taught in school, English. And I think also the country was colonized by the British, so English is in their curriculum. So languages, nevertheless, over time you get to integrate with the local language, so it is good to learn a few words like the greetings, asking how much is it, so that somebody does not immediately click that you're a foreigner and overcharge you something. So it's good to relatively learn a bit of the language over time. But English is also acceptable. Everybody talks English, and you can easily communicate in English with anybody around. So for the languages, it is English and the local language, which is Bemba and Nyanja. So that is it. We are done with the 15. If this is the kind of content you'd like to see, kindly comment below. I was happy compiling the list, and I am happy to see that I can help my fellow travelers. Enjoy your traveling. Have a nice time. This just got through when I was just serving. So I made some rice and a relish of green peas with mixed vegetables. So we are gonna serve and we're gonna enjoy. And as I finish, I want to just summarize by giving a hint of how I preserve my food. People have been asking me how I preserve food without a refrigerator. So what I normally do is that once I serve, I don't cover the pan. I noticed when you cover the pan and the what is it called? The smoke goes to the cover, and then it precipitates back to the food. That's how the food goes bad. So normally I leave the food uncovered for over 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours like that. And then once I leave it uncovered in the morning, because mostly I cook at night, so in the morning I will go and cover the food, but not cover completely. Just leave it with some space to get some air in it. And then In the evening, if I will eat or not, I will have again to heat the food and then again leave it uncovered, and in the morning repeat the same thing again. So as long as I keep heating and not covering, then the food will stay up to 3 to 4 days. I've even had food going for 5 days without going bad. So that is my secret to keeping my food fresh, and I've not had food go bad in this house. So that's how I'm able to preserve my food, just by heating and leaving it uncovered, and then just covering for a few hours and not covering completely, and then again doing the same thing until the food is done. Thank you, and enjoy your travels. Hit me up for anything, for any comments. Adios. Let me have my meal.